the reason I prefer these last two. One is shares. Why? I understand it. Straightforward. I don't need to send anyone back home money that it will invest for me. I'll send to my own stockbroker from the UK direct. And I write an email giving them an order to buy me my own shares. Or they'll actually give me an online platform. I trade for myself. So I don't need intermediaries. That's tick number one. Secondly, the question I asked you, when you are buying those other things, this one you are lending to government. When you are fixing money, you are actually giving the bank a liability. The money you get out of giving your deposits in a bank is also, you're also lending the bank, in quotes. That's why they give you a motivation of 12% because you are lending the bank. Are you getting me? Higher. So all this is lending. But I'm lending to a third party. Government is a third party. Bank is a third party. Okay, but you are told what? They are risk free. Okay, fine. Sawa. Okay. When I'm buying shares, this is how I see it. If you have 100 of these bottles, that carton is called a company. When one bottle is yours, and one bottle is my brother's, and cancel the other bottle, so we have one share each in that carton. That is basically it. That, I know when I'm buying one share, I'm buying the value of that company. I am a part owner. So, is this the era of shares? In my opinion, much more in Kenya. The Dow Joneses are hitting the roof. They are recording their bestest years, if there is such a word. Because they have hit 50,000 Dow Jones on Friday. I think today it still went higher. But in Kenya, companies are trading for bargain. And I'll give you a few examples. Because when you are buying shares, don't buy a share, buy the company. In your mind, unajua nanunua hii kampuni. So that even if you buy one share, you are buying the company. Take any share listed in the NSE. Just shout one. Safaricom, any other? Let's start Safaricom. Safaricom was 45 shillings in the year 2021. Today it was 32. They have invested in Ethiopia. They have now started showing signs Ethiopia is recovering from bleeding cash to being a tap, bringing in money into the company. So use that information. Any other? Equity Bank. Equity Bank, their core capital, the worth of the bank, vis-a-vis how it is trading in the market, it is trading at 25% discount. That is, the share, if you buy all the shares of equity, vis-a-vis the company, if it was to wood up today, the money the owners would get, you are buying it for 75% of the value. Any other? Kenya Power. Kenya Power made 24 billion last year in net profit. 24 billion. The entire Kenya Power is valued for 30 billion. What more do I need to tell you? Are you getting what I'm saying? So these things I'm saying, they are not jargons. They are real things that you must use in your decision making. Kenya Power made 24 billion last year. Can you just even think that? They are worth 30 billion. That if diasporas in the UK bought it today, in 1.5 years, you've recovered all your money. Are you getting? Any other? Kenya Airways is, okay. Every area, there is no sure bet in investments. I hope you know that. Kenya Airways could be one of those. Is it? Out of the busing of negative capital, let me not talk about it. Yeah. Any other? I want you to give me the ones you know. Kenyari. East African breweries. And I'm looking at it in terms of value. Me, I look at it like I'm buying the company. EABL trading at maybe 250 shillings today. Asahi Group in Japan are buying from Diageo 65% of EABL for how much? 590 shillings a share. You know, the reason I'm telling you these things is to show you the market in Kenya is deep. As we see the other markets flaring up, there are markets that are still depressed. And a depressed market is a good market for the buyer, not the seller. Are you getting? So I know some of you bought shares when they are very high. That's your problem. We are now talking about the current buyers. Are you getting me? Tell me any other. Kenyan, they made a profit of 10.6 billion last year. Their entire market capitalization is 60 billion. Their assets is 500 billion. They have assets of 500 billion shillings. No, you know why I'm telling you these figures? Look at yourself like you're buying the entire Kenyan. Or do you even think twice? Or do you think even twice? Have that mentality when you're buying shares. Any other, the last one? Kenyari. Now listen to this story. Kenyari, they have been making a profit of like 5 billion shillings on average. Their market capitalization, the entire world, if you bought all the shares of Kenyari, you'd spend 17 billion. So don't see about the billions. When I say about five, just say, okay, he's talking about 5 million, but the company is worth 17 million. Bring it down. Even me, that's what I do to see it with my eyes, not with the big figures. So a company making 5 billion, but is valued at 17 billion. It's making net profit of 17. Second thing, these fellows have no loan, zero. They have no one they owe even an overdraft. That their cash and cash equivalent. Listen, cash and cash equivalent, do you know what that means? Money fixed in the bank, the money lying in the bank, and the ones in T-bills and boats. Those are cash and cash equivalent. It's anything that you can turn into cash like this. That's why they are called cash and cash equivalent. They have 41 billion. That doesn't sound real. A company is valued at 17 billion. That if you bought all the shares today, it would cost you 17 B. And the entire Kenyali ifungwe kama nyama, uwekewe ni yako. Upon going home and kufugua ile nyama, the cash and cash equivalent alone, pesa, ulirealize si nyama tu alifunga, hapa kado, wameweka kitu, pesa, is 41 billion and is part of the 17 you paid. Yani, umenunua nyama ya 170 shillings. Quarter. 170 shillings. Kufika nyumbani kwenye uliwekewa, kufugua, nyama iko ile ulinunua. Because the company is still there. But then you realize, there is money that is 410,000. No, 410 shillings. It's part of the package. I know it doesn't sound credible. In other words, you buy a flat for 17 million. So you bought the flat. And inside the flat, one side has a factory. So it's not just a flat, it is a going concern. But upon opening the door in the sitting room, and you bought it at 17 million, in the sitting room, you get a bag with 41 million. That is how some of these companies are grossly undervalued. Any other, the last one? And I'm saying you mention any because I don't want it to sound like they are just a few. BAT hadn't done analysis. Pipeline. Kakuzi, their asset in terms of land alone, their worth is a fraction. But I'm not telling you to go. I hope you guys are already now very sophisticated. I'm throwing the ball to your court to go and analyze so that you get the very best of them. And also there are many parameters you look at. If it's land, an agricultural company may be very high in terms of value of land, but may be less in sustainable profit. If it's banks, banks are spread in Kenya. They are money-making machines. They are profitable. They pay dividends. And why I buy shares is, I'm not buying some hot thing. If I buy equity share today and it falls, remember my value doesn't fall. It is the market that is falling, not my worth. That's how I look at it. Because I'm not there to sell tomorrow. If I buy equity shares today, let's say I have 2% of Equity Bank, I'd never care where the share price is going. I care about the value. The value of a company is not just based on the share price. It is based on other things. So what I'm just trying to say is that when you buy shares today, the real value you are buying is much higher than the amount you are paying in terms of the share. The real value. So I'll add it there, but after here now, because I believe this is the period of shares myself, but I'm checking to see whether signals will come to show me the exit. I am hoping by close of 2026, we'll be seeing the sunset of shares in terms of as a good investment. The information I've given you, we'll already have even dumped the share price, so there'll be no advantage. Because remember, you gain out of the ignorance of others. So when the information percolates into the value of something, then you have nothing more to gain.